Coming up, we're back in the studio.
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Shaun Preece.
That's better. Hi, Shaun Preece. How are you?
I am happy, Stephen Scott. I'm back in the shed where I belong. It's beautiful.
Yep, you're in the studio, or I'm in the studio. You're in the shedio.
Yep. Yeah, oh, well done. Oh, that's very clever. Oh, back on form. Jet lag's gone then?
Not quite. I'll be honest, I feel like an old Windows 95 computer. Just, randomly crashing all over the place. Just sit down in a chair, boomf, I'm out.
Well, as long as it's not the blue screen of death, we're all right. Well done,
I am wearing a blue
Scott.
T-shirt, so I suppose I am kind of in fitting. Listen, by the way, hello to everybody who's here. I got the dog, of course. We've got the cat, Nif the cat is here as well. Who else have we got? Oh, Cookie Monster's here.
I haven't missed him.
Oh, come on.
Mr. F.
And Mr. F, of course.
God bless you, Mr. F. I missed you.
I know. And listen, Mr. F was the man who made last week happen. It was all because of him and his amazing decision to send us on a plane for 11 hours together. That was an experience that I think you will never forget.
Never, ever, ever. Both going and coming back. It was definitely torture. Yes, but, we got to know each other even better.
Yeah, I've heard of rendition flights, and I don't believe they're fun. I think you experienced one all by yourself on that way out to
11
Los Angeles.
hours. That's the longest flight I've ever been on. And with Stephen Scott basically doing 11 hours of show talk to everyone on the plane, it felt longer. It was very good, Stephen. Thank you.
It's all about promotion. That's the thing, Shaun. You got to promote the show. Yeah.
Yes, if you want to hear about Double Tap or not, everyone on that plane knows Double Tap.
Proper captive audience right there. They're not going anywhere. I mean, some are reaching for the emergency exits, I think, just to see if they work. I mean, it was a Boeing flight, so there was always a chance the door was going to fly open anyway. And I think some people wished it did. But no, listen, it's great to be back in the studio. Your Shedio, of course.
Yes.
You know what? It was an amazing week, let's be honest. I mean, just thinking back to what was just an incredible week of meeting some amazing people, some amazing companies, and a lot of the conversations we had, we didn't even get around to broadcasting because we had no time. There's so much that we haven't yet played you, so we're going to be playing conversations out over the coming days and weeks, so look out for that. Also on our website, doubletaponair.com, our wonderful producer, Mark Aflalo, has been working really hard over the weekend to get all of the interviews available on their own. So you can go off and choose your interview you want to listen to. So you can section off on the website, say, I want to just check out that chat Shaun had with Sony or the chat that I had with the keyboard people. The Logic keyboard people, by the way, are amazing people. I loved touching up those keyboards. That was a fun experience for me.
I virtually had to drag you away from there. It was just, you were in heaven.
I love keyboard. And you know what? It's just, I think it's because you get the chance to test these things, right? You hear about them, you read about these companies, and it's totally different to actually standing next to the product and trying it. You and I did a webinar last night for the wonderful Braillists Foundation, an amazing group of people who invited us on. And, we were tired, but we thought we've got to do it because, Matthew Horspool and the team over at Braillists Foundation, Dave Williams and everyone else, they give so much to us here at Double Tap. So we thought the very least we could do is turn up. Yeah.
And they do a great job over there. So yeah, we were more than happy to do it.
And we were with Scott Erickson as well, who I know listens to our show regularly. Scott came on to basically be the brain behind the nonsense.
We didn't have to be there at all, really.
No.
But Scott was absolutely amazing. He knows everything, Braille inside out.
He does. Scott knows his onions.
Yes,
when it comes
Scott
to Braille.
Onions.
Scott Onions, as we know how to call them, yeah. But he was on, and we were chatting about all kinds, and I was talking about the Activator and the Activator Pro from Help Tech. Now, it used to be called Handy Tech. Help Tech, a German company that were showing off. Now, they weren't actually showing off themselves. It was a company called Dream Vision Group that sell it in the US. So they're the reseller for the Help Tech Activator and Activator Pro. I could do a show alone on my thoughts on these devices. Now, I will say this. I have said a lot on this show that the cost of assistive technology is ridiculous. And of course, the first Braille display that I fall in love with out there is like $15,000 or something. It's a ridiculous amount of money. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it was like 12 or 15. Was it 12? I mean, it's still a lot of money, right? I mean, that's...
Well, Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes, it is.
It's a huge amount of money. But I mean, we've talked about prices so often, but if we just look at the technology, you were blown away by that.
Yeah, well, I'm maybe going to talk more about it down the line because I think we could easily spend a couple of shows, a couple of days just chatting about, the specific findings we had. Because a lot of the companies we talked to, it felt a little bit like a whirlwind. We were just chatting to these guys and then suddenly you were off. And then later on in the evening, I'm thinking, that's an interesting product and here's why it's interesting and here's what it does. And, that Activator Pro I could talk about for an hour alone, honestly. It was just so interesting.
And he did.
Yeah. And I did.
I mean,
yes,
over
dinner,
over
breakfast,
drinks. Yeah. Oh,
drinks and breakfast. I've seen you drink whiskey in the morning, but that's a new thing. I didn't know
I was trying to dull the pain, Stephen.
I thought it was just Mr. F, but there you go.
I will say this, like, as someone who, I don't use Braille every day, far from it, but, someone who's constantly trying to learn Braille and fit it in, I was blown away by the innovation.
Yeah.
With the Braille tech, because I still got this, maybe it's a bit antiquated opinion that Braille can be a little bit dusty, but actually there was so much innovation going on, talking about the activator and the active, what do they call it? Active tactile control.
Just think air traffic control. That's the best way to think about it.
ATC. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, it actually knows where your fingers are on the Braille display and can, auto pan across when you get to the end of the line. And just so many amazing things like that. The Monarch with the infrared, sort of, it can detect where your fingers are as well, doing it in a different way. But, I just thought, Braille is definitely, it's moving on, right? There's such great work going on with Braille.
There is, and Braille Pen 24, which was another device we got hands on with, which you had called like the Apple Magic Keyboard of Braille displays. That nice plastic sheen finish. Also,
I didn't know it was plastic. It felt metal to me. It was a real nice build quality. It was very thin. I thought it felt like an Apple trackpad.
Yes, that's right. Really nice.
It was nice.
So plenty to talk about. Also plenty of feedback from you guys as well through the week. Obviously, we didn't get to anything last week on the emails. I think you probably expected that. I did notice a marked downturn in the number of emails we got. Probably people thinking there's no point in sending in an email this week.
Yeah,
they're never going to read it.
Sorry. I will get back to WhatsApp this week. Sorry, guys.
Tomorrow and Friday, we're going to dedicate to the inbox. So we're going to be diving into all the feedback that we've been getting over the last couple of days. Just want to say hi to Daisy, who picked me up on a point about HumanWare. Daisy said to me on email today that she was a little bit upset that we didn't talk more about the Monarch from HumanWare. Here's why. Because look, we had a limited time with HumanWare. We wanted to focus on some of the big updates for the general products, and we did talk about them. The Monarch, in my view, is a very specialist within specialist device. Not a lot of people have access to them. I agree, however, there's a great interest in this product as well. Many people, though, it'll be out of reach for them, unless perhaps you're at school or you're going to school, or perhaps you're in further education or employment. We will dig in more with the Monarch. It's not something we've touched on much on the show. We have spoke to HumanWare about it, but definitely we will be talking about it because clearly they are spending a lot of time and effort in developing it and coming up with some really interesting features in it. I mean, just listening to some of the presentation on Brailleist Foundation, and it is available as a webinar, or at least will be, I think, this week. So
very soon,
once it's public. I mean, just if you follow the Braillists Foundation podcast, which is called Braillecast, you'll be able to check out that conversation. Scott goes into quite a lot of detail there, and we'll maybe try and get Scott on here to talk more about it as well. Because I know those like David Woodbridge, of course, out there in Australia. He has been going on about this thing for so long, and you can really hear the passion
going on in a nice way.
No, I mean, he has, but he has.
Stop going on about it.
No, he has. He's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. And I think the thing is, it's again a bit like the Activator Pro for me, right? It's like, I love it. I could wax lyrical about it, but the chances of most people, like even me, getting hands on with it, really, is not likely. But doesn't mean we can't fawn over it a little bit.
You might, exactly. We can look at the technology, right, and say, what we think about that.
Well, we can also say how great a Bentley is, right? It doesn't mean we're going to go and buy one.
Yeah.
So, especially us.
Yeah, good point.
But yeah, I wanted to also mention as well, because, there was one person we met that I don't think we'll ever forget, and that is the legendary Stevie Wonder. We got the chance to meet Stevie.
Wow.
We got our picture taken. That was nice.
That was nice.
You had your hand around him, didn't you? Did you hold his hand?
Did. Yes, I shook his hand, put my arm around him, and then the bouncer tackled me to the floor. But, that's not the point. I got to touch Stevie Wonder. He was lovely.
Go. Yeah, no, he was. And we've got a very brief chat with him. Now, it was at the end of a very long day. He was clearly tired. So, we got a chance to say hello to him. And here's a little bit of that.
It's an absolute honour to meet you, honestly.
It's good meeting you.
And listen, how do you find this kind of event? Is it just absolutely overwhelming with people like me annoying you all the time?
First of all, you're part of my family. God has given us a purpose. That's why we were born, to motivate and really grow the spirit of goodness. And so I'm honored to meet you.
Oh, come on.
Because at the end of the day, what we do is we lift up the spirits and let them know that it's not you that it's not you that's blind or you that's deaf. It's that the world, too many people in the world are blind. Too many people in the world are deaf because they're not seeing the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is love, and the light of truth shines through everything. Even though there are those who are trying to blind you and not let you see it.
Yeah.
And the truth of life is not deaf, where you don't hear. Because the hearing is as clear as the birds you are able to hear every single day, or that you're able to see even though you're deaf. The blessing of life goes on. So I congratulate you for what you're doing to motivate people, to grow them, and never give up. Always do what you do.
But can I ask you, how do you stay positive in this wild world we're in right now?
Well, the world has been wild for a long time.
Yeah.
And so the key is, are people strong enough that are being able to see the glimmer of light, to understand the truth about all things? And those are able to hear a glimmer of sound, to see, to hear the truth is still there for you to hear, to know that the truth in life is love. It really is love. The same love that you had when you created your sons or your daughters. Is that love? It's the same love that I was able to, see my mother go in the snow, go to work. It's like, is that love? So even though I don't know you from day to day,
yeah,
I love you because you are soldiers in the true army of love. So that's what I'm going to say to you.
Oh.
I know you didn't ask me those questions, but...
No, listen, thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care of yourself.
So, just wonderful to spend a couple of minutes with Stevie there. Clearly he's tired. He was very emotional as well because he had just done a speech to the crowd there who you were hearing in the background. They were at the Vespero event celebrating 30 years of Jaws. 30 years of the shark!
Yes.
And he was very emotional because he was talking there. You had a little bit of that speech as well. And he spoke quite strongly about his views on the state of the world.
He did.
Very clearly, I would say, about where his views are on where we're at and what's going on in the state of the world, especially in America right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, strong on the, we are a family and the love aspect. But he did mention, how people, it's almost like we're under attack at the minute from the DIA and the things that are going on there. He did put it slightly stronger than that. And,
yes, he did. Yeah,
he did. He spoke very eloquently there. And can I just say, you made Stevie Wonder cry, Stephen Scott. Well done.
I know. I'm going to take that one to my grave. I can't believe that. I made Stevie Wonder cry. I suppose if anyone was going to do it,
everyone on the plane was crying.
Yeah, so, I know. Yeah. Upset a whole plane full of people and Stevie Wonder. That's it. My job is done. Listen, I also, while I was there, rather cheekily asked him if he'd say hello to my wife. I know that's a very fanboy thing to do, but I did because, my wife loves him, I love him, and I thought I'll ask him to say hello to my wife. Wasn't quite expecting what he did next.
Marie?
Marie, yeah.
Marie.
Marie.
Marie. I'm not from Scotland, but guess what? I love the spirit of your husband. Keep him ever strong. And for every inch of love that he gives you, just sing, isn't he lovely? Yeah.
You're so kind. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, family.
Thank you, mate. Thank you so much.
I mean, you can't get better than that, can you? I mean, he's singing "Isn't He Lovely" about me after I made him cry as well.
Right, okay. If that turns up in the SFX, in the sound effects board, and that plays every single day, then we're in trouble. And can I also say, thank you so much, Stephen, because from now on, Sarah keeps saying, oh, you didn't get Stevie to sing me a song then. Marie got a song, I never.
Dear.
So thank you, Stephen.
I managed to get her a no-jab cane. I mean, what else does she want?
Oh, yeah, that's true. She's happy enough. She's fine.
She's fine.
Can we just say, sorry, before we go on, I've got to say as well, Stevie was great. Meeting all the exhibitors was amazing, of course. But all of you as well, the listeners that we met.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely
I
amazing.
I almost feel, I don't know, it's strange to say, but we met so many people. And I know sometimes people might say, oh, we met so many people. We really did. We met so many people who came up to us and said, hello, I listen to your show every day, just randomly, which was amazing. I mean, that just blows me away. Or I watch the show on YouTube every day, or I listen every day. We had an event on one of the nights, completely lost of what day was what, but we had an evening reception along with our Glytons, and we met some amazing people. I want to say hello to Katie. Now, Katie's, I don't normally tell people second names, but I have to say this one. Katie Fan could not be a better name for someone who's a fan of Double Tap. A true fan, I would say. She was following us around everywhere. It was great to see you. Although I say that, I actually think she was just at the same stalls we were at. We just happened to be there. I think she was actually following us around anyway.
She was lovely, as well as Liz, and there was Jane, and there was Paulette. Look, there was just so many, and so many. You were so patient as well, because some of you, heard Stephen's dulcet tones while we were recording interviews.
Across the room.
And you waited until we had finished and to say hello. So thank you so much. I was blown away. It really... sometimes we sit here doing this, but to actually get out there and hear people say, we listen and thank you was absolutely amazing. So thank you. It was so cool.
Yeah. Blew me away. I think I got a little bit emotional myself that evening. It kind of blew us away. Like you say, we do this thing, we just think, right, okay, whatever. But you guys really do. You're amazing fans, and we really appreciate your time and coming up and saying hello. Some people even saying, look, I went along to CSUN because I heard you were coming. So leave back in, and
searching us out.
I just thought it was amazing. I also want to say hello to everyone on YouTube as well who've been commenting. I know we don't pick up on the YouTube comments much, but I saw a lovely comment the other day from someone who was saying, they were at CSUN, they had gone round, but they said they could never have caught up with what we were, as much as we were able to bring you in terms of coverage, which I think says a lot about what we were trying to do. And I think we achieved it. I think we went out to achieve, giving you the opportunity, whether you're there or not, a flavour of what CSUN is. And I think we've certainly achieved that. So yeah, I'm really
I will
pleased
say,
about that.
I will apologise to a few people that I just couldn't, I couldn't spend enough time with. It was so busy. It was, there were so many interviews, so many people to talk to. So if I didn't get time
Sean, you're not offending them off. Don't start that nonsense. Oh yeah, so many. The rope line was too much to deal with.
I'm talking about people that I've spoken to for years and years over there. Hugo at the Braille Institute.
Friends?
Yes, my friends. You very rarely get to meet in person, and I couldn't spend enough time with them, but it was great to meet you.
Oh, so you dinged your friends. Okay, fine.
Well, I must say, my boss, Stephen Scott, just didn't give me any time off at all.
Yeah, apart from all the time you had off.
Yeah, apart from that, obviously. But then I had to sleep and eat. Yeah, I'm not a machine.
I have to say, I love the social aspect of CSUN because you get a chance to go to so many parties. We went to like one party, I think, because we just couldn't. I couldn't. By the end of the day, I was dead. I just had to sleep. I'd been so tired of my life. I honestly thought the jet lag would be okay, and it hit me as soon as we landed.
Yeah.
Couldn't get out of it. But no, listen, it was a great event, and all going well. We'll be doing it again next year because the Tech On show. Someone asked us last night on that webinar, is it worth it? Is it worth going? I say it is. It is the central place to go. If you want to know what's going on in assistive tech, that is the place to go. But here's the best bit. With Double Tap, you don't necessarily have to. You can't afford it. If you can't afford to get there, then we can do it for you. And we can make sure we stick the mic in front of everybody who's there and bring you that coverage so you don't need to lose out. Right, let's move on because lots to talk about. Yes, the news of the day. Let's get into it. Microsoft celebrating 15 years of Ability Summit. I can't quite believe it's 15 years since that started. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. 40 years of CSUN, 15 years of Ability Summit. We're getting old.
30 years of JAWS. Yeah, I know. Everything's celebrating its anniversary this year. 40 years of Apple accessibility as well. Maybe let's not mention that in the Microsoft segment. But yeah, so... but no, I mean, look, this is a great event. It happens every year. And, generally it's been an event for the industry, the accessibility industry, to come along and learn about, the different ways they can think about products and services. And they've kind of continued that this year, but gone a little bit further. So one of the big announcements was around accessible packaging. Now, you might think, Microsoft talking about packaging? But what they're doing and what they've done is they've actually come up with this whole set of guidelines, best practices, and various strategies to create accessible packaging, not just for themselves, but for other companies. So this is a toolkit for any company who wants to do this, any company that wants to make their packaging more accessible. Now, there were people on the video, Jessica Refuse, who I know well from Microsoft. She had said on one of the videos that she'd got a Surface laptop and she was able to open it herself for the very first time that morning. Like the only time ever she would be able to open that box on her own. That's huge, right? I mean, that's huge because how many times do we say, you buy a new product, it's the opening of the box, it's the the new iPhone smell, or it's the new MacBook smell, or the new Surface Pro lineup smell.
Sounds so strange, right?
No,
but it's absolutely true. It's part of the experience, yeah.
So, just side note, got my hands on a new a new Samsung S25 Plus. Thanks to Samsung for sending that out to me. I'm going to talk about it in the coming days, but. No smell of the box. I mean, come on, Samsung.
Smell free?
Smell. I opened the thing. I was like, nothing. Well, no smell. So I got to say, it knocked a few points off for me.
That is a little bit weird, Stephen Scott, I will say. But okay,
no, it's
if
not.
you say so.
No, it's not.
All right, okay.
Anyway, I think this is great with the whole idea of accessible packaging. Why would we not want that, right? And I think good for Microsoft to push this down the line.
I must admit, when I saw that, I thought, that's a little bit strange, right? But then I remember just a couple of days ago, I was looking through my stack of boxes. Those boxes which you think, I better not throw that away just in case. And in my case, it's usually iPhone boxes. And trying to find the box for this particular iPhone, it was really difficult. I was using Seeing AI and it just says iPhone. It's like, I want some more information on that. It's actually difficult sometimes, even using OCR, to find out what something is. So whether it's to do with actually, the physical process of opening the box or actually the labeling on a box, it is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Another area which got some news, Microsoft Teams will improve for those using sign language view. This is something they brought in last year or a year before. Later this year, Teams will be able to identify when someone is using sign language and feature them prominently as a speaker in the meeting. Now, previously, you could go in and you could set that, and you could almost define it yourself, but this will automatically detect that. And I guess that is great for multiple speakers of sign language. You could have a conversation over it and it will switch between. So if you're on a Teams meeting and there's 4 or 5 people there who are using sign language, it's not going to be, just one person that can be pinned. You can have all of those people come up full screen whenever they are talking, which I think is wonderful. That's
that's one of those uses of AI where you think, this is it. This is exactly why this is, a positive. It's not all negative. This is a fantastic feature. Being able to recognize when someone is signing and make them, front and center. I mean, it's so important.
Obviously, Copilot was mentioned quite a lot, and in one particular area, and that is with GitHub and accessibility. So they're really trying to push a more accessible developer platform and a way for developers to create apps and websites and whatever else accessibly. There was lots of talk about it. I'm not going to get into it here because I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I will say that I think
Never stopped us before.
That's never stopped us before. You're right, but I think it's great because it just allows developers to get the chance to do this, no matter whether you're, whatever disability you've got, basically, right? And that is huge. So,
and GitHub is
we'll
very
talk more about
important. On developer point of view, GitHub is a fantastic resource. I've tried it a few times, to get some open source projects and see how they work. And I must admit, I get lost in there so easily. There's just so much to navigate through, and I kind of don't know what I'm looking for. So yeah, any improvement on that would be amazing.
Yeah, and this is a little part of this, but I think it's important to mention. Narrator is going to get some AI support, AI love in Narrator directly. It's going to be able to generate image descriptions. That is coming soon and is in beta at the moment, so we'll follow that up as it comes along, but I thought that was pretty cool to mention. Also, hardware announcements, and Steve Saylor, the blind gamer, joins us now to tell us more about new hardware announced at the Ability Summit. Steve Saylor, welcome back to Double Tap.
Hey, thanks, Stephen. Pleasure to be back again. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you. So, of course, all the big news coming out from Ability Summit, but you actually have hands-on with one of the pieces of tech announced. Tell us more.
Yeah, so Xbox, a couple months ago, they announced some new initiatives and new technology and devices for accessible gaming as part of their adaptive controller that they have. And it's been out for like several years now. They made a Super Bowl commercial with it. And they're now expanding that line with more devices that can essentially not only attach to the adaptive controller, but also can be used outside of that. And they start off with this guy right here, which is the Xbox Adaptive Joystick. I'm going to try to be able to use my camera to focus in on here, which is basically, to kind of describe it, it's very similar in size to, and even color, to the Nintendo Wii nunchucks. If you remember those from about 20 years ago, it has basically the four face buttons that you normally would see on an Xbox controller, and they're labeled X1 to X4, and then they have only one thumbstick that is on the top. And then on the back, it has the one shoulder button and one trigger button, which are labeled as X5 and X6. And then on the bottom, they have a USB-C connector port, which this is wired. It's not wireless. But they also have a 3.5 millimeter, or I don't know what the actual measurement is, but that basically has that screw head that allows you to be able to attach this to, say, if you need this device and then you have a wheelchair and you want to be able to attach so it kind of secures it in place. You can be able to screw that into any kind of device or setup that you have that's a little bit more comfortable, and it feels great in the hand. It's pretty light, and basically they sent it for me to be able to unbox, and then they also told me that it is available now to purchase. It was announced a couple months ago, but is now available to purchase as of today for about $35 US.
That's fantastic. I mean, who's the market for? Who's this for?
Oh, this is definitely for those with motor disabilities. In that it kind of expands the adaptive controller line, where they don't really have anything that's specifically for any of the thumbsticks, because this can actually plug directly into the USB port that is on the side of the adaptive controller, because they always had those USB ports that you can be able to attach any sort of joystick or thumbstick to it, and it will work. So this will attach directly to that, and it comes with a 5-foot braided cable that allows you to connect to it if you need to. But it definitely is designed for if you have any motor impairments with your hands, or you can only be able to use one hand to be able to play games. This is kind of gives you at least a little bit more than half of the buttons that are on a regular Xbox controller, and you could still be able to at least be able to do it all within one, basically within the reach of one hand and one thumb. But what's cool too is that actually for the joystick itself, Microsoft does allow you, and they actually do have several 3D print models that you can actually be able to download. And if you have access to a 3D printer or a friend that has one, you can be able to print any type of sort of joystick attachment that you want, and it will fit the top of the joystick. So if you need like a ball joystick, or one that has a flat head, or one that's a little bit bigger than the regular Xbox joystick, you can be able to attach it to the top, and they give you all the 3D printed files with all the measurements correct, and you can print your own attachment however what you need to be able to make it more comfortable within your own setup.
That is incredible. And any design, do you think, beyond using it for gaming? Like, I'm thinking of all the potential applications this could have for navigating the computer. I don't know. It just seems like that kind of device, right?
Yeah, I haven't fully been able to test it for it to be able to whether you can be able to say like replace a mouse with this. But the good thing is that it does work not only connected directly to your Xbox console, whether that's Xbox Series X or S, but you can connect this to a PC. Again, it's wired, so you have to basically have a pretty long cable or a long enough cable to be able to make it work for you. But when you do plug this into a PC, it does act as any other controller. Oftentimes with Xbox is what they've been able to do that's really, really great for those, not only just for gaming in general, for backwards compatibility with older games, but anytime you connect a controller to a PC, your PC doesn't need any like special software specifically in order to be able to run it. It just sees it as a controller. Now, granted, there is a specific Xbox accessories app that you can be able to use to remap the buttons specifically to, like, if you can be able to, like, on the controller itself, we basically have, like, you can say like X2 to be like the A button. You can be able to remap it within the accessories app. But for the most part, it just acts as like a 6-button controller with a joystick. So the possibilities for it to be used as an additional device that's not beyond gaming, I think that could definitely be possible.
Yeah, I mean, incredible work by Microsoft here. It really shows their commitment to accessibility. They've been talking about that, of course, at Ability Summit. From your point of view, though, I mean, as a disabled gamer, as the blind gamer, are you seeing improvement here from Microsoft in this space through Xbox?
Yes, definitely. I would say if this was a couple of years ago, I think I probably said at the time, even talking to you a couple of years ago, I think at the time I would have said yes for sure. Like it has been a bit, but now it's been a bit slower than I think probably say PlayStation. I think PlayStation has been pushing a lot more on the accessible software front. They have now also their Access controller, which basically is their answer to the adaptive controller for the PlayStation side. But a lot more of their software, their games are a little bit more accessible than current Xbox games, but that is changing. Again, I think with the difference between the two is that they both care and actively work towards better accessibility, but Xbox has always kind of had a culture of accessibility. So it's really just getting the software to catch up to say PlayStation, so that more games within the Xbox library can be fully accessible to as many disabled players as possible.
It's good to see competition in this particular space, right? I mean,
I love it. Yeah.
Could you imagine
As
this
we know,
10 years
in the
ago?
tech side, more competition means better innovation. So it just this is great for us disabled players.
Absolutely. Steve Saylor, thanks so much.
No, thank you so much. Take care.
Just amazing to hear from Steve there talking about that adaptive joystick, and thank you for giving us that sense of hands-on right away, which is absolutely wonderful. Because
I will say, sorry, Stephen, I got hands-on with the PlayStation Access controller that Steve mentioned there as well.
Oh, did you know?
I did, yes. Now, look, I'm not a gamer at all, but again, it's so impressive. A lot of the same features on the PlayStation as on the Xbox One there, being able to just totally remove the buttons themselves and replace them with anything you want. And the joystick as well, the standard D-pad or just the stick that sticks out, but you're able to just pull it off and put on, it reminded me of the old style arcade machines with the ball on the top. And, just being able to customize it to whatever your needs are was absolutely amazing. It's just so cool to see the companies actually caring about this stuff.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is the way they're designing them, they're so attractive. I think a lot of other people will be interested in these. It won't just be, for disabled people. I think there's a lot of people who would be saying, that joystick sounds pretty cool. I could have that. And that's why I was asking Steve, are there any other applications for it?
That's exactly what I thought. Is this the Stream Deck, but an accessible version I can make use of? Yeah, and I mean, it all comes down to it all comes down to the software. The actual hardware itself, totally accessible, totally customizable. Now, if there's some software out there that we can make, do what we want it to do, this is a great interface.
So it's available. It's the Xbox Adaptive Joystick. If you're searching for it online, you can search for it now, and you can find it exclusively, it says actually, on the Microsoft Store, $35, I believe is what Steve said it was.
That's a bargain, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I would have one of these just to play with, just to find out what it can do.
I haven't got an Xbox.
No. but you can plug, as Steve was saying, you plug it into the PC and use it for different things. So
you can play your truck driving game again.
Oh, that sounds good, doesn't it?
Oh, fantastic.
Let's move on. Thank you to Steve Saylor, though, for joining us. Blind Gamer. You'll find him online and across social media. Well worth checking out Steve, and he's just a fantastic voice for advocacy in the gaming world. I want to talk Be My Eyes now because we got a chance to catch up with Mike Buckley while we were at CSUN. And I kind of wanted to pin him down on two particular things. One was around the Windows app, which has been around for a long time. When are we ever going to see a Mac version? I'd love to see a Mac version of Be My Eyes.
Don't bother, it's fine. All you need is Windows.
Who cares, right? Yeah, exactly.
As the Beatles said,
that's
all you need is Windows.
Oh, yeah. I remember that song well, yeah. Well, I did ask him about that, and I also asked him about that video. Remember that video?
That video,
where we saw Andy hailing a taxi, and he was asking what the ducks were doing, and all that stuff, and we all got very excited. What's happened since then? That's all part of the conversation we had with Mike Buckley at CSUN. So let's talk about where we're at with Be My Eyes. When am I getting my version on macOS? My little MacBook wants Be My Eyes. When am I getting it, Mike?
Soon. I hope 2 months.
Okay.
But we have this brilliant blind engineer, Jessica, and she is helping lead our team in Copenhagen on this. It is a personal passion project of hers, and we are updating. Be My Eyes for desktop will be available beyond just Windows, and also we're going to try to really deploy this in the workplace so that we can make this download free for all Mac users and continue to be free for all Windows users by creating an enterprise product surrounding it. So I'm really excited. I think 2 months, stay tuned. There will be an update on the Windows side coming very soon, and then the Mac side is shortly thereafter.
I also have to ask you, I got a lot of listeners.
Here we go.
You know what's coming,
Here
I think.
we go.
I got a lot of listeners who asked this. We saw the video of the guy hailing the cab, asking what the ducks were doing. Where is it? Where is it? Why is it on my phone?
Let me start by saying that if I had this to do all over again, I would not have done that video with OpenAI. They asked us to do it as a favor to them and out of respect for them. I did it, but they have not opened the API on that model for us. And so literally right now, we're experimenting with some other model makers on kind of live video. And so, Stephen, I don't have a time frame for you. I hope it's a couple of months. We're working on it right now. We've got a test flight version of the app that we're working on that you can talk to, right? And that does have kind of real time, but it's got to work really well. Like we can't release a crap product. And so I do want to say to anybody listening to this is like, again, I apologize if I had it to do all over again, wouldn't have made that video. It's just not, it wasn't fair to like get everybody excited about it. And here we are 8 months later and it's not out. So I own that. It was a mistake and I learned from it. I hope I learned from it.
Wow. Well, there you go. You always get candid from Mike Buckley, I'll tell you that.
Oh, so yeah, Mike is always open and honest, right? Absolutely. Fantastic answer, I think. But you know
the right
what
answer, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But you know what I'm taking away from that? All I heard was 2 months. A couple of months, maybe. So, Mike, you still haven't learned because I'm now excited about the other APIs that you may be using with other models. But I really appreciate his honesty there.
Look, I think, the one thing that I'll say about these companies and the companies that are doing well in the assistive technology space in particular, I mean, we could talk about other companies, but I think in the assistive tech space, the ones that do the best are the ones that are the most honest. And that's the truth of it. The reason Be My Eyes is so successful is because it is a great product, but it's also led by someone who really passionately believes in what he's doing and wants to do the best for our community. Now, it's interesting because when you compare that to some of the advocacy that goes on out there where they say, oh, everyone has to be blind if you're running a company. Look, I get it. I agree that we definitely want more blind people running businesses. Of course we do.
We've said that all the time.
They don't also have to be just assistive tech companies. I'd like to see blind people run other companies, right? And I know some great blind people who work in amazing industries who, you very rarely hear about. Chris Lewis, who we had on recently from Mobile World Congress, when he's an industry analyst, he's an expert, he runs his own company. He's doing it, but it's not, the blindness is irrelevant in that part. And that actually is the nirvana for me. That's the nirvana. When you've got someone running a huge company who just happens to be blind, because that will bring so many aspects to that company, so many of the important work that needs to be done in the company to make that company think about accessibility because it's being led from the top. That is more important to me. But I think ultimately what is also important is that we have an inclusive society. And what I mean by that is we include everybody, not just who we select, because that's called exclusive society, which I don't want. I want an inclusive society that invites everybody in. Because, last time I checked, we live among sighted people. We do not live on Blind Island.
Why not? I want that to happen.
I know you do.
Absolutely. And of course, as we said before as well, it's not always leading from the top as well. I'm thinking of El Dean, who we met at the Sony booth, who works, on the cameras and the accessibility of the Sony cameras and camcorders, if camcorders are still a thing.
They are, believe it or not. I was actually at a Best Buy and I couldn't believe I found one. I was like, I was
so surprised when he mentioned camcorders. But, the work that's going on there, and El Dean was a blind person, so it was like, having someone just being in the room, as we always say, it makes a difference.
Yeah, all across the company it has to be the case. But no, listen, a very interesting point. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on this. But there you go, Be My Eyes, Mike Buckley, the CEO, saying quite clearly to us, it was a mistake. He shouldn't have run the video. It was too early. But I mean, it is a show of promise, without a doubt. But
of course.
But the problem is that really the problem with Be My Eyes is in some ways they're kind of held back because it's all down to OpenAI to release this function. And if they don't release it, there's nothing Be My Eyes can do. So,
it's true. Yeah.
That was, but well done to Mike for saying that. Let's talk about some other stories in the news today. I thought we'd just sort of catch up everyone on the week because it honestly has been so busy with stories and we haven't touched any of them because we've been away. I want to mention this one because this is quite cool. So Amazon are announcing a premium devices line called Signature.
What? Now, I this has totally blindsided me. Sorry.
Ableist.
I did not know about this story. I seen it in the notes and thought, wow. So tell me more. I'm interested.
So this was announced by Bloomberg, and this is an interesting one. So Amazon launching a premium line of Lady A powered devices led by Panos Panay to compete with Apple, apparently. This was announced by the company. Wow. The Signature line will feature enhanced audio, extended battery life, for me, and robust security. Now, what we're talking about here, now look, this does not surprise me too much because Panos Panay, for those who don't know, worked at Microsoft. He was behind the Microsoft Surface line of products. Clearly someone who wants to, I would almost say he's like the Johnny Ive of Apple, in the sense that he was the guy who was behind designing these amazing products, these beautiful Microsoft products. It does not surprise me he wants to bring that to Amazon. And I've said it on the show many times, I don't doubt there will be bigger, better Echo devices coming down the line. I wasn't quite expecting this. I just thought, I thought maybe the Echo Studio would get some updates and that would be nice. I didn't think they'd actually come out with a whole new lineup.
Well, let's see how many devices are in that lineup. But it is strange, though, because Amazon are known for their, what should we say, loss leaders, their affordable devices. I still think they're quite high quality. It's not like they're cheaply built or anything. The build quality on the Amazon devices is really good, I think, for the price. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the Surface has a reputation for being, that sort of premium hardware product, how it should be done. And I think they're making the right move here because I want the higher quality. The Studio, as you mentioned, they were meant to be the pinnacle in the Amazon ecosystem for the audio quality. But I think they can do better, and I'm definitely interested in this.
I'm still amazed because I've got the two Echo Dots. No, they're not Echo Dots. The Echo Ball.
Mediums.
Yeah.
They are just called the Echoes.
Just called the Echoes, yeah. But the Echo Medium, the Echo Ball, as I like to call it.
Just like a football. Yes.
Yeah. I've got two of those in my living room. Had them there for years now, and they serve as pretty much everything. I mean, I was putting in HomePods. I was going to put in a fancy sound system, like a Sonos or something. And then I'm like, well, these actually sound amazing when you pair the two together. And you can pick them up for next to nothing on a Prime Day sale. So you think, well, this is worth it. Now, that's good as it is. I can't wait to see where they go next. And I think the idea of making them, premium is going to mean a couple of different things. It's going to mean they're going to look a certain way. They're going to probably have nicer feel, maybe better aesthetics, more color. I don't know. But what we're also talking about here is higher quality audio. So perhaps we'll see some kind of, because Amazon are good at this. They're good at the integrations and the collaboration work. So you may see them join up with someone else. Do you remember there was an IKEA partnership, which still exists, I think. I'm getting mixed up. That was That was Sonos, wasn't it, that did that?
Was it Sonos?
Yeah, Sonos
with the
did
cube
that.
speakers to fit in their units. Yeah, absolutely.
But-
And this is all about audio quality for me. I mean, look, the HomePods sound absolutely amazing. They are my main speakers for listening to music. They sound fantastic in my living room. I have the studios there, but they've just been sort of pushed aside to the back room. They still sound good, but you can't compare the two. The HomePods sound amazing, but if you up that audio quality with the ecosystem around the Amazon smart speakers, it's just, it's immense. It's amazing. Compatibility, it controls everything in my house.
Yeah.
So if they can bring that audio quality up, bring it a bit more, higher grade, then I'm all in.
Well, someone who's all about audio quality, and that's Sonos. Well, an interesting story here. Remember they were going to bring out an Apple TV competitor?
Oh, that's right. Was it Pinewood or something?
That's right, yes. Surprised you remembered that. Sorry,
Me too.
I sound audibly surprised at that. They were, and they've ditched it.
Wait.
Not happening.
Has that even been released? I thought
No.
that was just in... Oh. So they announced the development of the new media streaming box and then ditched it.
So they were developing the streaming box, as you say, called Pinewood, to compete directly with Apple TV and Roku, but the project was cancelled due to internal restructuring and concerns about the product's high price point. Now, while Sonos apparently are not entirely abandoning video streaming, although clearly it is, it's currently focusing on stabilizing its software and expanding its audio lineup. This is a company in retreat. That is my view at the moment. This is a company that is still a little bit nervous about its reputation out there following the debacle last year of the new app launch and the issues that they had. Of course, for blind people, we all know the challenges we had, but let's be honest, in the mainstream world, it was all about losing functionality and losing access and just a really horrible app experience that just didn't work out very well. Now, they've sorted all of that out, but reputation was damaged, and particularly among customers, right? So this is the key, not necessarily new customers or people who would come into the ecosystem. It was the people who had Sonos. And this, of course, would be the hope for Sonos, that they would say, well, we developed this new TV product, we'll get buy-in here. But if the costs are high and the reputation is slightly damaged, then it may take a long time. They may need to focus on, and this is what they seem to be doing, focusing on repairing that reputation with customers first. And then let's build new products then.
Well, I mean, there's two ways you can look at this, right? It's either they're in trouble, either from an organizational point of view, the structure, do they know which way they're going? Is there, turmoil in here? Or is it a Steve Jobs moment? They've said, you know what, let's concentrate on what works. Let's concentrate on our core audience here. Let's just concentrate on the audio. So it could be actually a good move. And maybe they're not, running themselves too thin here. I'm not entirely sure. Look, you're part of the Sonos ecosystem. You have the speakers. How do you feel about this? I mean, if we take away how we feel about the reputation, and you're absolutely right, they did tarnish and stain their reputation, I think. But to be fair to them, they have improved that. They've turned that round a little bit. They just need to build the trust. How do you feel about this? Does this make you nervous?
No, it doesn't make me feel nervous. I'd rather they focused on stability. I mean, I remember just recently, actually, there was a video going around of the release of the Snow Leopard, Mac OS X Snow Leopard software. And there was a big announcement at WWDC that year where they said, are we bringing in 200 new features? Are we bringing in 300 new features? Is it 500 new features? And said, actually, 0 new features. We're just focusing on making everything better that's in the product. And you know what? I have more respect for that. And I think if companies did that more, actually, we could solve a lot of these issues. I've said many times, do we really need a whole overhaul every single time of iOS and macOS and Windows every single year? I'd rather they just fixed what isn't working. I mean, we know from the voiceover and the Windows point of view how many bugs and things exist that could really do with being fixed. And it's no wonder that they're never fixed, because the accessibility teams in these companies are run off their feet trying to keep up with all these constant changes. So, there are core issues that need to be resolved inside these systems. So I think when it comes to Sonos, spend the time developing that, and I think, regain the trust of people out there. And they're starting to do it. They're starting to do it, I think. But look, I think on the economic front, I think we have to be careful here, because we often tend to pick a company and we talk about it and, economic woes. got to zoom out a little bit. Look at the state the world is in. The world economy is in decline. So, you know, every company is going to be impacted by lack of sales, people not spending money. They often say travel is a good indicator of where the economy is. If people are starting to cut back on travel costs and spending, flights, all that kind of thing, that's usually an indicator more generally across a world what is going on. And there is a significant slowdown in spending at the moment. So that is going to have a knock-on impact on every single business. It would be unfair, I think, to pick out Sonos and say, oh, look, they're doing not very well, so that's clearly down to them entirely.
Well, it's not even that they're not doing very well. It's just an interesting development that you would announce that you're working on a streaming box, and then it seems like just a day later it's
or
yes,
is it smarter to ditch and say, right, there's no point investing in this because it's not going to work. For us as a company, it's not going to work, so forget it and just move on.
I tell you what I find interesting is that they mentioned the high price point as a concern. I mean, this is Sonos. I mean, your speakers aren't really that affordable anyway. So, okay, I wonder how much it was costing out.
I also just don't know what it would add to the whole industry. I really don't know. I mean, surely most people, it's like you got a television, you've got an Apple TV box, you've got a Roku, you've got Fire Sticks, you've got Google Chromecast, you've got all these different options out there. What's it going to add?
If you say that, though, then no new competition comes in place. They may have come to the market with something totally revolutionary. So who knows? Yeah, okay, well done. Positive, Stephen. Well done. Who knows?
Listen, I've got to mention this one before we go. Sony have released, wait for it, a Blu-ray disc player. Yes, It is 1997 all over again. Sony have released a new 4K Blu-ray player. Ready for this? The UBP X700/K.
Can you say that again? People may be writing this down.
UBP X700/K.
No, they definitely aren't writing it down. No.
It lacks wireless networking features. Well, there you go. That's an absolute disaster. But it retains Dolby Vision HDR, Dolby Atmos, and DTSX support. While the future, I should say, of Blu-ray remains uncertain, Sony apparently remains committed to this, which is kind of surprising to me. But is that a surprise? I mean, people still have Blu-rays. They still want to play them.
Do they, though?
I mean, clearly, there's made one. What's the point of making it if no one's buying it?
Well, you can
who do you think they are? Sonos?
You can still buy video recorders, I'm sure. You can still buy turntables. I know that. So, I mean, I don't know.
Right?
I don't own any Blu-ray discs at all. Do you?
Yes. I've never watched any of them. But yes, I own them.
That's because you need to, does it say audio description on the back
do you know what
of
it
the
is?
case?
No. Here's the thing, right? Here's what happens. You think about a movie you've got upstairs in the loft that you've, a video or a DVD, you think, I'd love to watch that again. First thing I do is go straight on and see if I can find it on streaming service. And if it costs a few dollars to rent, I'll just rent it. That's the truth of it.
Money to burn. No, you're absolutely right. It's all about the convenience. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
So that's the news.
The news.
I want to ask you one final question, and that is, what did you take with you to CSUN? Because I packed my bag full of tech. What did you take with you that you didn't use? You thought you would, that you didn't use.
That's interesting. I didn't use my AirPods. I used my Meta Ray-Bans all the way through.
So hang on, just to clarify that. You didn't use your AirPods because you used my AirPods. Just to be very clear on that.
That's true. Okay, all right. Yes, thank you, Stephen, for lending me and you're never getting them back, your AirPod Pros. Very nice of you. I didn't
Sorry,
use
the Lightning ones. I don't want them. Good luck charging them.
MagSafe and wireless, also an option there.
Yeah, true.
I didn't use them. I did pack my Surface Pro, a gorgeous machine, but I didn't use it that often because I just didn't have time. So I didn't actually use most of my tech, I'll be honest, apart from the Meta Ray-Bans, which were amazing.
I know. So the one thing I didn't take was a little wireless keyboard, my little Logitech Keys to Go. And I realize now, if I'd taken that, I wouldn't have needed anything else. Because you're right. I mean, I barely had time. I took my MacBook and I took my laptop PC with me as well. That only came in useful on one occasion. Other than that, honestly, I could have done the whole thing on my phone. Did not see the point in taking the computer at all. And it's made me think next time, I don't think I'll bother taking a computer.
You say that every time. Every time you take a Mac and Windows.
Because I get nervous.
I know. You never know when you're going to need them. And they're such a size now. They're easy to throw in a suitcase. They're fine. I took the MX Keys keyboard. The full-size keyboard was in my suitcase just because I love it so much. It makes it so much easier to use your phone from bed, let's be honest. It was great. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I love the MX Keys keyboard. Listen, there's so much more we could talk about with what we saw. We did also take a little trip to the Apple Store because you do.
You do? We had no choice dragging us along.
And I nearly accidentally bought an Apple Vision Pro, which we'll tell you that story tomorrow because that was hilarious. It was a bit of let's just say, a communication issue that happened.
Yeah, a humour failure, I would say, but we did have to run away. And
we did.
Two blind people trying to run out of an Apple store.
The slowest getaway you can ever imagine. Imagine Titanic towing another Titanic through an Apple store. That's basically what was going on there. Listen, we're back tomorrow. We're going to dive into your feedback tomorrow and Friday. Again, a huge thank you to all of you for your comments. Also, a huge thanks to those of you who've been already commenting on the excellent interview, which nothing to do with us, but the wonderful Chris McCausland, comedian, of course, who was with us yesterday. It was an amazing episode. We thank him for being with us for the hour. And we hope you enjoyed that too. It was a nice episode just to get us back into the week. But we're back. We're back in the studio. We're back doing what we do. So we will continue it tomorrow here on Double Tap. As always, thank you, Shaun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.